what was said by Stephen. It is just his opinion, even Paul also opinionating. Such words should not be understood literally, as often it must be understood basing from the preceding and following verses or by the true message of the verse. The word dwells in such aspects must not only be understood as a demosil, like as of being said, "He dwells in my heart," then, relate to this verses, John 14 verse 2, 1 Chronicles 23 verse 25, Acts 7 verse 49, etc. So it is one of the aspects as why Solomon says God dwells forever in this temple, as God's solo heart dwells in it. Now as what you said heaven and earth could not contain God, it don't mean that God never dwells in any temple of God or house of worship. Solomon just asking. Solomon will not contradict his own words, he is full of wisdom, but Solomon wanting to impart, could God mix the earth or the temple as his demosel as if it cannot contain God? In the 1 King 8:27, it was included there the heaven, so do you mean God also contradicting his words? Or is God as stupid that he did not refute what his servants are saying? For as was written God dwells in heaven, and not just in heaven. That's why as I've said the word dwells must be understood if to what is the true message of the spoken or written words. That is why I'm asking why Solomon says the God will dwells forever in the temple of God he made. This is the fact when Solomon built the temple of God the God did not refute Solomon of saying he will dwells in that forever. Instead God even blessed the whole temple with graven images in it. And then due to God's anger with Solomon he permitted it to be ruined by Solomon's enemies. But when Jesus called Muhammad in that place, then when he dies, Jesus permitted it to be restored by Muhammad men. Jesus even said when he is in earth, "Stop turning my Father's house into a market." So as it means God dwells in it, dwells, never in all aspects of to stay in every hour or all the time. As even in the ways of humans some never dwells or stays in such hour or days or element of time in their demosil, but as surely as it God dwells in his house of worship forever through his soul and heart and mind. The very fact, the words even the heaven and earth cannot contain God, it already proves that God stays everywhere at the same time, because that means everything was created inside God. God could not be omnipresent if not all was created inside him, and never that anything will be outside the Spirit, for there's only one space, as God is the exception of every matter occupies space. Now is why Solomon said God dwells in it forever. Solomon is not only referring to the temple itself, but generally he is referring to Temple Mount, as Solomon often prophesying indirectly, as Solomon is referring to New Jerusalem, or Holy City, the former Temple Mount. So this proves that the dome of the rock, the former temple of God, will also be ruined, and in the Temple Mount the New Jerusalem will be built. As was said, the New Jerusalem will be placed into the same place where it was used to be. There, God's Jesus will continue to dwell as forever. So never ever rebut what Solomon have said, because of the fact that God stays everywhere at the same time forever, as he is the wholeness of all. God never occupies space. As he is the space, everything was created inside him. That is why it was written heaven and earth cannot contain him.